I'm Kat Hutchinson. I've spent years exploring the natural world, and I've learned that some of the most powerful stories start in the quietest places. Here in Big Bear, every trail, every call from the treetops, and every act of care is part of a bigger story. A story of resilience, restoration, and respect. In the mountains above Southern California, there's a place where wildlife still rules the treetops and forest floor. I've come to Big Bear to explore the wild, but also to understand what happens when nature needs a helping hand. Big Bear is what ecologists call a sky island, a cool, green mountain world surrounded by low, hot deserts. It's a forested island in the clouds, floating above the dry lands below. I could see her sticking her head out.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Every journey needs a base camp. This cabin, this quiet morning is where I begin. The people of Big Bear have a way of making you feel like a welcomed guest. You see it right away, in the friendly smiles when you check in. From here, I'll set out to learn what it takes to protect this place. But first, a moment to breathe, to listen, and to be present.
So we are headed to the Big Bear Alpine Zoo. I'm super excited to see the bald eagles. And then I heard there are snow leopards, which is really exciting because it's very rare to see them. And the Big Bear Alpine Zoo mimics their natural habitat really well.
The zoo gives visitors a rare chance to see wildlife safely, ethically, and without causing harm.
This zoo is amazing. It started here in 1959 as a home to some animals that were displaced during a fire. All the animals that you're going to see out here today are here permanently. It's their permanent home because they've either had some sort of injury that they can't go back out to the wild. But we do a lot of rehabilitation here, so we keep all those animals up in our more private area because we don't want them getting used to people so that they stay wild when we take them back out to the wild. We get a lot of local wildlife, so we see a lot of chipmunks, ground squirrels, tree squirrels. We occasionally get raccoons, sometimes a fox or a bobcat. A lot of birds of prey, a lot of hawks and owls. We've found a golden eagle and a bald eagle. Songbirds are a big one, especially during springtime because they fall out of their nests. The goal is to bring them in, get them checked out. If they just need a night and some food, get them out the next day. Sometimes they'll need surgeries, and then it's a longer stay for them. If it's an injury that they can live with, but they can't go out to the wild because they wouldn't be able to hunt or survive or protect themselves on their own, then they can stay with us where they get free food and entertainment.
What would you say are some of the biggest challenges facing Big Bear's wildlife today?
People leaving their trash out, and then the burros get into it, and the bears, it attracts them down into more human areas. Plastics, because those end up, animals ingest them, which is not good, or they get entangled in them. A lot of times with fishing line, people when they're out fishing will cut their lines and then just leave it there with the hooks, and ducks go by and see it and they'll eat it, and then they have that stuck in them. Poisons and chemicals, people put rodent stuff out to get rid of the mice and rats in their area. Then a hawk or an owl or even a fox or a coyote will come by and eat that animal, and then they too suffer the consequences. If you're coming up here to enjoy nature and you're going hiking, just be alert of your surroundings. Pay attention to the safety guidelines when they're out hiking, because we do have bears and mountain lions up here, and stay on the trails. What you pack in, pack out, don't leave anything behind. One of our main goals is to try to give a deeper understanding of the local species and the importance of conservation. We have docents that come and do groups for children to teach them about the animals. We do keeper talks here on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, and a keeper stands out there for 15-20 minutes just answering questions and telling them about that species. We have lots of social media that we try to upload stuff and keep people informed, especially during baby season, so that they know what to do when they find baby animals. Come come on over to our zoo. We have a large representative of a lot of the local wildlife that's here, and you'll get to enjoy them up close and personal. It's just a fun place to be, and it helps support us to take care of more of the wild animals that need help.
Look at the wolves. Come on, let's go.
So unfortunately, we get a lot of hit by cars, a lot of poisoning. For every animal that comes in, we start off with an intake exam, which is an extremely thorough physical exam. We check mentation, if there's any injuries, broken bones, how dehydrated they are, if we need to take any radiographs, blood work, fecal sampling for parasites. Most wildlife is going to be extremely stressed when they come in. They're going to be injured, fearful. What we need to do first and foremost is always minimize contact while treating them. We do use a lot of canine and feline medications that can help with pain. We want them here for the shortest period of time. We also need to make sure they're prepared to go back and be released. If they can hunt and provide nourishment for themselves. So it really depends on the individual animal. A screech owl that was brought in that was hit by a car, and after examination we found that it did have a fracture in the wing, but we were able to set it and it healed beautifully, and we were able to release him back into the environment where he belonged. So make sure we're very aware of driving around in our environment. They are sharing it with us and sometimes get scared, run into the streets. Be careful that we can actually slow down enough to prevent those hit by car accidents. And as far as the activities around the lake, if we can clean up fishing line, supplies, hooks, and also remove any trash so nothing gets ingested.
Wildlife rehab is more than compassion. It's science, patience, and respect. Behind every rescued animal is a dedicated team of veterinary experts working tirelessly to keep the zoo's inhabitants safe, healthy, and thriving. Their expertise comes from near and far, local veterinarians rooted in these mountains, and specialists from around the world who bring their passion for wildlife to Big Bear.
Why do we keep animals like this in captivity? If they're living in a cage, we should learn from them about how to take the ones that are still left out there in the world, how to take care of them, how to protect them, how to keep them healthy. And that's how we're going to learn. How the stuff that we learn with captive managed populations is applicable to wild populations, and that to me is the ethical justification for maintaining them in captivity, other than the fact that maybe one kid out of 1,000 that comes through the door is going to grow up and do something for conservation. So yes, they have an educational purpose, but why a place like a smaller zoo like Big Bear Zoo, who's keeping a non-breeding population, is important is because these animals need somewhere to go. They have intrinsic value as individuals and also for that educational basis. For example, the other snow leopards that's down there is part of a study that's helping other captive cats. So, and she's not a breeding animal. So having places for them to go where they can get good quality care and they can continue to provide, be a part of the educational process, I think that's why they're important. Otherwise, where would they be, too? Where would she go?
United by love and purpose, they form a network of care that reaches across species and continents.
Working with animals, learning the trust, companionship, and love have been my greatest teachers. And they give me profound joy. And I have met the most incredible people during my journey because of the empathy and resilience with these animals that I work with.
From large predators like snow leopards to the smallest turtle, every animal here receives world-class treatment built on science and guided by compassion. To witness nature is a gift. To capture it without interrupting it, that's an art and a responsibility. Brady Enger has spent years photographing Big Bear's wildlife with care and respect. Today, he's showing me what it means to be still enough to see.
There's a kind of magic that only happens when you wait. When you sit still long enough, the forest kind of forgets that you're there. That is when you hear things you didn't know you were missing. The distant tapping of a woodpecker, the rustle of fur through the underbrush, wings flapping through the air. It's not just about getting the shot, it's about showing up in a way that doesn't interrupt the song. One of the first things that I notice that kind of calms my soul is I hear the wind through the trees. The birds chirping nearby. The squirrels rustling around nearby me. That is able to kind of calm me down in order to tune into the nature more.
What are the best times of year for wildlife photography in general?
It varies depending on what kind of animal you're wanting to photograph. More so springtime, as a lot of animals are starting to kind of come out, find food, and it's just a little bit nicer for them and easier with all the snow melt. Definitely get yourself a nice pair of binoculars. There's also a unique place up here called Chirp, and they have a ton of information about the local birds as well as birds that are passing through. And with any wildlife photography or even just spotting, have patience. It's a very diverse area. I'm able to kind of see where they hang out as I'm driving around the lake. In Big Bear, there's just a lot of opportunities for me to take photos of them. Keep your distance and be respectful. They are wild. They're going to do what they need to survive. And when there's human interaction, essentially giving them food, they can become dependent on humans.
What are some things that visitors can do to keep this an ideal habitat?
Use pack-in, pack-out practices. Be conscientious of your actions around wildlife. There's quite a few resources up here like Care for Big Bear and the Discovery Center to give you additional tips.
Some of my favorite animals to photograph here are the ones that people don't always notice. Bobcats, for example, if you're lucky, they move like ghosts. Jays and woodpeckers, on the other hand, bring the forest alive with color and sound. And then there are the raccoons. Clever, curious, and endlessly expressive. A personal favorite of mine are the red-tailed and red-shouldered hawks. They're fast, they're observant, and a challenge, but really fun to photograph.
That's great. Thanks for the advice, Brady.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Do you want to go see if we can get a good shot of the birds?
Yeah, let's see what we can find.
Brady has taught me so much, and I'm really grateful for the time he spent helping me understand this sanctuary from the inside out. But this sky island is more than what's happening on the ground. To uncover the secrets of its airborne ecosystem, I'm going to need help from another expert, one who understands wings, wind, and the wildlife that depends on them.
We are on our way to Chirp Nature Center to talk to Randy Putz, and he is an expert on all things birding, bald eagles, wildlife, and I'm super excited to ask him a lot of questions, and it'll be great.
The great thing about Big Bear is that it is located on what we call the Pacific Flyway, which is a major migratory path for wild birds in North America. We sit at over 7,000 feet, and we have a big water source called Big Bear Lake that attracts a lot of different birds at different times of the year. The most exciting would be our pair of mating and breeding bald eagles. Beyond that, we have our jays, which are technically stellar jays. They're, of course, the loud, raucous birds with the mullets. We have mountain chickadees that are adapted to the high altitude and the cold winters. We also have a bird that is more rare to see. It is a pinion jay. When you see them, they're like a big blue crow. There are multiple places where you can go and see other birds. One of our favorites is up by Bluff Lake. We get birds that breed there, that migrate through. Another one of our favorite places is what we call Happy Hills Trail. It quickly and easily gets you into the national forest. One of the key things is when you want to watch birds, you want to be near a water source. That attracts bugs, and bugs attract birds. There's a baseline where it's good year-round, but spring is the best time because we will get the most migrants, and being able to see and observe their nests is a fun thing to do. It's as simple as going outside, listening, looking, and starting to pay more attention to what's around us. When you're birding, the quieter you are, the more nature is going to come out and show itself to you. Our goal is to connect people to nature using wild birds as inspiration. In the past, we've had free bird walks and free bird talks, and that provides just another way for people to connect and get you out into this beautiful natural environment. It just helps us personally. It lowers our blood pressure. All the things in the forest that we breathe help us internally. As you become more aware of the nature around you, you become more respectful of it. It's really about creating an awareness of all the living things that are around us.
What can visitors do to responsibly and respectfully observe them?
The first thing that we can do is respect their space. There's an area around them that is off limits. The Eagle Cam is going to give you the best view of what's going on without you harassing them. So I would encourage people to watch on the camera.
A place like this stays beautiful because people care for it. That's where Care for Big Bear comes in. This community-driven initiative is dedicated to protecting the mountain, its wildlife, and the people who love it. It recognizes that every choice we make up here, whether we're visitors or locals, shapes the fragile ecosystems that call the Big Bear Valley home. And it believes each of us can play a part.
So how did Care for Big Bear start?
So Care for Big Bear started a few years ago, and it started out as an education campaign for our visitors and giving them just some friendly notes on how to come out here, whether it's on the trails or on the lake, and how to enjoy the community responsibly. If you're out on the trails here, it's important to stay on the designated trail.
Staying on marked trails is about more than safety. It's about preservation. Straying off path can damage delicate habitats and disturb wildlife nesting areas. Big Bear is more than a destination. It's a shared responsibility. Every person who hikes a trail or takes a photo here becomes part of its story. And if we do it right, that story will be unfolding for generations to come.
If you're out on the trails or if you're out here on the shoreline, picking up trash where you see it is the easiest thing to do, disposing of it properly. There's a lot of ways to get involved. There's a lot of organizations in the valley that are conservation oriented. They're always looking for help. There's also a lot of donation programs. So those are the easiest things that people can do, even from home, if they're not out here.
Care for Big Bear also started a new campaign this year called the Dark Sky Initiative, which is all about educating our visitors and our residents about the night sky and why dark skies are important to the health of our environment and our wildlife. Keeping Big Bear beautiful is a team effort.
The best thing to do is to get outdoors. Big Bear is an outdoor recreation destination. We have endless hiking, endless biking. In the wintertime, we have skiing. We have all of this. Fishing and boating happening year-round. So the best way is to get out, get into nature, connect with it, and enjoy.
I came to Big Bear in 1965, and I've been here ever since. And I've been watching the eagles over here since they arrived in 2010.
Wow. So you're very familiar with Jackie
I'm very
and
familiar
Shadow.
with the eagles. I've been watching them. I used to keep track of the eagles for the Forest Service, but then they put the camera in the nest, and after that I didn't have to do anything.
Can you tell us a little bit about Big Bear Lake and Big Bear in general? How has it changed over the years?
Well, Big Bear has changed since I got here. I mean, there were 4,000 people here when I got here. Now there are 25,000, so it's changed a lot. It's been an adventure living in Big Bear, but it's the most wonderful place in the world to live.
What kind of wildlife do you see on the water?
Great blue herons, a lot of them. We have the great white pelicans, every kind of duck you can imagine comes through here in the wintertime. The piece of advice that I would give is when you're out boating, don't chase the birds. You know, don't chase the waterfowl around. People like to get out there and chase the great white pelicans and things like that. Leave them alone, let them live their little lives out there on the water by themselves without you interfering with them. I would say the thing that you need to do to really see big bear, take a trip around the lake. You know, just go all the way around and look at the view on the way. Don't stop and smell the roses.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of roses to be smelled here.
Why do you think it's important to protect places like this for future generations?
Well, if you didn't protect them, we wouldn't have them. And I can't imagine having my generation without having eagles and wildlife. And where I live, we have lots of wildlife where I live. I live way in the boonies. So once you get out beyond the edges of town, nothing changes. It's the same. Beautiful.
When you come to Big Bear, come curious. Come with care and leave no trace. Be part of something lasting. A community rooted in beauty and balance, where people and their wild neighbors flourish together. The wild is still here, resilient, radiant, and quietly waiting for us to rise to its example. Its future is a reflection of our care, our courage, and our belief that people and nature can thrive together.